Hey everyone, so in this video what I'm going to be going over is the piston. Um, let's see, I had it modeled here, and I was supposed to show you what it looks like beforehand, and there it is. Okay, so this is pretty much obviously what it's supposed to look like when you finish. Um, it's not that complicated of a piece. I have extra steps in here that I won't go over when I actually model the part later in this video. But what I'm going to do is just basically go over really quickly what I did step by step. So first thing, let me show all of these things here, make sure they're shown. First thing I do is I make a sketch here on the ZX plane. It could either be on the ZX or the ZY, it doesn't matter. But I go ahead and I make this sketch, I revolve it. I don't know why I do this here, but I make this sketch here separately, and then I revolve that, and then I use a unite to unite the two pieces here. I won't be doing these three steps, and rather I'll just be making this one sketch and then revolving that just one time. This part was made like early on, I think, when I was starting to learn the software, and I just, for whatever reason, felt that it was easier. But either way, the next thing that I want to do is I want to make these two sketches. You can't see them now because they're within the piston. They're underneath, they're right there. So one sketch is just simply a circle here. The next one is basically another circle. That's all they are. Nothing major. I just realized though that I need this distance. Okay, so 27, so we're good. Okay, that would have been really bad had I got to that point and then been like, oh, I'm kind of stuck here. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these sketches is, for the smaller one that I drew, I'm going to use it to subtract some material from this outer, from the exterior of the piston. I'm going to use the second sketch to make this like cylinder piece that goes inside and attaches to like the inner lining. And then I'll use a simple hole to just put a hole through it. And then I'm going to mirror the hole, the outer extrude, and then the inner extrude here. And I'll mirror that basically across the, at this point, it's the ZX plane. And so I'll get this on the other side. And then that's basically it. So once you have that, of course, if you're into that habit, you can, like, of course, like, hide everything and then just show bodies, then you'll be fine. And then you can go ahead and use this to assemble some stuff, but or assemble the entire radial engine. But yeah, so let me go ahead and get started here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just basically delete all of this. Let's show this again. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and start with a sketch on either, you can do either the ZY or the ZX as long as it's parallel to Z. That's really only for orientation purposes. Now the way that I'm going to start this is I'm going to basically just use, let me escape here. I'll use this tool, the rectangle tool. You can hit R on the keyboard as well, that works. And I'll make a rectangle that's roughly 70, let's see, I'll have a height of about, that's not what I wanted, a height of about 70-ish millimeters, and a width of about 50. So let's go yay high and about there, like that should be alright. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, clearly I need some dimensions here. So if you're wondering, like, okay, well, where are you even like getting your dimensions from? So what I'm gonna do is basically, I don't have the book with me, or I don't have like the PDF, but what I am using is her name. That's, oh, caps lock is. The textbook of NX, either like it goes all the way from, as far as I know, like 7 to 10 now. The author is this person. I'm using that textbook. So I'm using that textbook for the dimensions of which I'm getting. They're pretty much unchanged from what I've seen, all the way from like 7, NX 7.5, which is what I started on, all the way up till now. So it should be relatively the same. They even look relatively the same. So if it doesn't, I guess, match with the dimensions that I use here, then at least you will have like a decent idea of how to do this part in the event that you're like a little bit stuck. But this definitely isn't the hardest part. So once I have this rectangle here, anyway, before this video becomes like a 45-minute video, which hopefully it doesn't do. What I'm going to do is just basically make what should look like the pieces that are the exterior of the piston. So I have my rectangle, and then I'm going to go ahead and like cut some stuff out. So I'll make something that looks like this. One thing that's pretty important to me right now is, I'll hit escape here, is these horizontal and vertical constraints. Make sure it's making those. Notice I'm still in my profile tool, so I can start here. I'm drawing 3 lines. I'm not drawing this extra line here because I hit escape after I make this little box here. I need one more and I'll be set right there. So I have all my constraints here, which is pretty good. Let's see, it also does, I'm going back to my picture because I have the picture like pulled up on my phone. It also does like this kind of thing. Let's see, it starts like maybe here-ish. It goes this way, comes down a little bit, and roughly something like that. Yeah, something that looks like that. And it has like another little pocket thing, whatever you want to call it here. Horizontal, vertical, we're good. Hit escape. So I can go ahead and like trim all these things out later on. What else? What else do I have here? I think that's basically it as far as like the inner pieces. But now, let's see, I have another arc thing that comes right here for the top of the piston. It's probably something more complicated than like the word arc. But, well, maybe, I don't know. So I'll start here, I'll go up a little bit. I'll use the arc tool. Well, I mean, here it's called arc. So I'll just click it, I'll make sure it does something like this. And then I'll come down, I'll click the bottom, or I'm sorry, this top right edge here of what I have so far. And then I'll just exit out. So yeah, so here's the center point. So in the event that this was like an entire circle, the center point of that entire circle would be this. But this is just basically the center point of this arc. Okay, so now I can go ahead and add some constraints, add some dimensions. Right before I go ahead and trim some stuff. So I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need these lines here. You can also do stuff like that. Let's do 2 at a time, being efficient here. I could delete this line, but rather I'm going to just make it a reference line, because I think jokes aside, I reference it like later on, possibly. We'll see. So now I can pretty much just go ahead and start constraining things. So there's a lot of constraints that I can add here. All these lines need to be equal to each other. These vertical lines, all these horizontal lines need to be equal to each other in terms of length. And then all of these separate outer lines need to be equal, not equidistant, equal in length. Because they are different from these. These two do have two different lengths. I think this one's like 2 and this one's 3. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and go into my constraints. You can either click this button here, look for it somewhere because your setup might be different, or you can press C on the keyboard and that will pull it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the equal length constraint. I'm going to make sure this is unchecked here, this automatic selection progression box here. So I will click all these four lines here need to be the same, so I'll click 3 of them. I'll wait to click on the last one until I select this next selection box thing, and it's great terminology, and then I'll click on the last one, and now they should all be equal to each other. So now it's ready for like the next set. So the next set that I will use or constrain, getting some better words here, are all these lines here. So I'll click on these. Let's see, how many are there? 7. Oh, it says 7 there. And the last one I'll click is this bottom one here. And then I'll do the same thing for these 3. Okay, so these 2 and then that one. Okay, so we're good here. So we have all these equal length constraints. And then I can go ahead and add dimensions to them. Well, what the heck, why not? I'll add them right now. So I think this line, the length of these lines, oh, that's a problem, inferred. I think it needs to be 3 millimeters, probably. Yeah, 3. That's another thing. So if you're, I make a lot of assumptions that, okay, so you have to be like already, you have to know that you know, as soon as you open up the program, you open up a new model, you start it in millimeters and not inches, but at this point, it's probably a good idea for you to just double check in the event that you sometimes make mistakes like that. Because I've definitely done it. I finished a sketch and then I realized, oh, darn, now I have to start all over, because there's no way, as far as I know, of changing all of these into from one system of units to another. So make sure that this says millimeters and not inches. If it says inches and you're required to do it in inches, then you're definitely going to have to go back. If you had to go back, I'm sorry. And we'll see you again here in a while. Okay, so this one, 2 millimeters. This line, let's see, my phone keeps turning off, so I have to like keep turning it back on. 4 millimeters. Ooh, that was nice. Didn't have to do that. Oh, let's be careful there. Okay. So I'm gonna be like finished with that for now, just for now. Let me go ahead and add some more dimensions though. So I know from this top corner, this corner here, I can't like really give direction yet, to the bottom right needs to be 46.5 millimeters. Let's see, from here to here, that needs to be 7. Make sure you're selecting the top of this box thing and not here, because I made that mistake and I spent, I think, like hours wondering where my mistake was, because it does mess up the circles that you have to put, the extrude circle pieces that you have to put in here. It's awful if you make that mistake. Because it's something like so hard to find, you know. I mean, it's not like easily pointed out. Like a quick thing, to dimension this needs to be 12. You can either click just the whole line, or you can click like corner or point to point. Sometimes, or most of the time, it's just easier to click the whole line. 12 millimeters. From this whole line to Z, that needs to be 37 millimeters. Am I good? Yeah, okay. So is this line to the, at this point, vertical YC or Z, I guess. So in order to get that, in order to not have to use another dimension, you can just use the collinear, make this line and this line collinear. And now you officially don't have to add this 37 again here. From this line to also this Z, 38.5, I believe. I'm gonna have to double check this because my phone just turned off. You're probably looking at your dimensions like, yeah, of course it's 38.5. Okay. That's what I remembered, but I wasn't too sure. The height of this thing is this line, 30 millimeters. Let's see. From here to the starting point, that should be 62. And oh my god, this is like way out here. What else do I not have in here? Okay, from here to the very bottom right corner to the starting point, that needs to be 46. And it should bring it a lot more in, which it does, thankfully. This little pocket thing here needs to be 2 millimeters. The height, at least. What else? What else? It's telling me, if you can see the arrows here, it's telling me that this line can move left and right. So what I'm going to do here is I can either make this line 4 millimeters, or I can also use a collinear constraint to constrain, like, because these lines need to be constrained here. This line and that one there. So now we're good. Now it doesn't want to move. And, well, it can't move. Okay, let's see. One other thing I want to make sure to do as far as this arc goes, because if I go into my constraints, I can see that it can move up and down, things like that. So I want to make the center of this arc, this circle, a point on this Y, or I'm sorry, this Z. I never know what to call it because it says like YC, XC. I'm just going to call it Z. But I want this point, this center, to be a point on this Z curve. So I have my center selected here. I'll go to my next object to select, and I'll click that. And yeah, sure enough, so that's exactly what it does. And that's exactly what I wanted. So last dimension, or I think second to last dimension, is this needs to be a radius of, or this needs to have a radius of 189 millimeters, I believe. Yeah. Whoa. That was crazy. Okay. I definitely didn't want that to happen. But that's okay, because I mean, like, it's all fine. I basically just need to add a dimension here. From this bottom to the very top, that needs to be 10.7 millimeters. Okay, Yeah, so sorry. Okay, real quick. Now getting back to what I was doing. Um, yeah, so this needs to be 10.7. That dimension is not given um, in your textbook. I know that like almost for a fact. Hopefully it's not. But I looked back at my other um, drawing and what I've done, and I found I wanted to look up this dimension here, and in fact it was 10.7, like on the dot. But you might want to double check with these dimensions here. So fair warning. Um, yeah, just letting you know. But either way, sketch here is fully constrained, so we're pretty good. I can go ahead and finish this. Just make sure if you have any problems with the revolve, which is what you'll do now, so you'll look here, where is it? Right there. That's what it looks like. Then if you have any problems with revolve, as you may know now, it could be either like things like the loop here isn't closed, or um, problems with the sketch in general, like there's double lines, things like that. Um, yeah, that will definitely affect your revolve. So when you first open them, let me go back. So when you first open up the revolve, it's going to ask you to select a curve. So this is the curve that we want to select, which is our sketch. It's going to ask you to specify a vector. It's going to be this z-axis vector here because we want to revolve it about this z-axis. It's going to revolve like in this fashion here. And then we are also going to need to specify a point. The point that we are going to need to specify is this very center of the universe here. And bam, it's beautiful. There it is. Okay, we can go ahead and hit OK, and we have the basic shape of our piston. So yeah, we're pretty golden there. Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add some sketches, some more sketches to this thing. Looking back at my notes. Okay, so first thing I want to add, I'm going to use the Z, I think at this point this is the ZX again. So it's going to be like within the piston here. I think this is like Shift F8. Yeah, there we go. Shift and F8 will align you back to be, I guess, normal of this plane is directly out at you. It's one way to describe it, I guess. And I'm basically just going to draw a circle roughly there-ish. Give it some dimensions. First one's going to be, let's see, 39 millimeters in diameter. And the second dimension will be that it is what? Yeah, sometimes if you like try and click on stuff, it ain't gonna happen. But that's why we have a delete button. Okay, so center of the circle, the very bottom of this X here. So I'll actually try and attempt to click on it there. Does it not still? No? Alright. Okay, sure. Hopefully third time is the charm, maybe. Or let's try this. Okay, x-axis, center of the circle. Okay, that works. That works a lot better. Okay. And that needs to be 27 millimeters. And I'm still not done yet. Okay, I just have one more constraint. Okay, so it's a lot of okays. I'll open up my constraints. And this circle needs to be a point on curve of the y-axis, because I needed to be like smack in the center of, or I needed to be along this line here. So point on curve, select the point, go down, select the curve, and there it is. Bam, fully constrained. Okay. What's cool about doing this next sketch is because it's a circle as well, and it's basically on the same plane. That is not at all what I wanted. You can use the center of the last circle that you did, or that you made, that you did. If this video, I think, were like early on, or yeah, there we go. Earlier in the day, I think I'd like be a little bit more serious about it, but it's nearly 3 in the morning, and I'm not caring nearly as much. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I can't see the circle that's within it, but I'm going to hold the right click button thing down, and if you hold it down, this little menu comes up, and what I'm going to do is hold it over this wireframe here, this box, and I'll let it go. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna put the whole sketch in wireframe view. Is that, yeah, there we go. So now I can see this circle as to where before I wasn't able to. You can also just like really quickly right click up, right click down. So another circle in the center there. Make sure that center point is selected before you go do anything else, or before you go click, I mean. It has a radius of, or I'm sorry, a diameter of 36. Let's see. Yeah, so we're good there. So I'm fully constrained because it's using other dimensions that I've used before in Sketch 3, so we're good. And now, let's see, now I can go ahead and do my extrudes. First one, why not? Oh my god, I just realized I need a dimension that I didn't use before. Oh, this sucks. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need them. So let me go ahead and save. Ooh, that's bad. I guess this like kind of shows how prepared I was for this. So piston, piston not done yet. I guess what's kind of good about like this being at this point in the video is I can go back, or what's good about having this other part is I can go back and see like actually where the dimensions need to be in the event that I don't have the dimensions with me, which is the case now. So right now I'm going to start at 42, and then I'm going to go a distance of 46. This end value really doesn't matter though, because it's just going to subtract from the outer piece anyway. So I have that so far. And it looks like I'm going to start at 25 here and then go to extended. And then I'll make sure to unite it with the actual piece. Okay. So let me go back to here. Okay, so now, alright, so sorry about that. So now I can extrude. Where's my, there we go. So let's start with the center here. this is not like how you get subscribers. That's not. This is not good. Okay, so I'm gonna start at 42. I'll end. It doesn't matter where in the heck I end because I'm gonna subtract it anyway. It's not gonna subtract anything out here because there's no body to subtract from. So sure. So I can just like okay it. So we have this piece that's cut. Now I'm going to go back into my extrude, select this second sketch, or in this case the third sketch, the first one that I did. I'm going to start at 25, and then I'm going to end until extended. So the extended being this ring here. But I don't want to subtract, I want to unite to this entire body. And there it is. Okay. Last thing I want to do is add a hole here. So you can specify a point. I think it's like at this point easier to like get a pre-selected point there rather than, because if I were to click now, it would prompt me to, or it would take me straight to a sketch where I can like pick points of where I wanted to put the hole. But if you don't already know, you can like kind of hold the cursor over the outer edge, making sure that this point here appears, and it'll put the hole like right there. So through body, sure. No, let's go until next. Yeah, until next, which is at the very end, which is the inner piece here. So yeah, I'll hit OK. So now I have this so far. Pretty good. And then, very last thing I need to do is I need a mirror. So you want to select mirror feature. The features that you want to mirror should be this extrude here, this extrude here, and if you don't know like how I'm rotating this piece here, I'm selecting the center mouse button. And then another like small quick tip is, in order to like kind of pan like this, you hold down the middle button and the and the the right mouse button at the same time. And you can do it that way. I didn't know that for a good while, and when I learned, it was pretty nice. Okay. The plane that I want to select is this ZX, because it's going to mirror these things across this plane. And yeah, my box, the destination is there. Destination, all these like great words that I'm not using whatsoever. And then I can just go ahead and hit OK. And bam, there it is. Say bam a lot. Okay. And that's basically it. That's basically it for this piston. Now, if you're into that habit, you can go ahead and hide everything and show just the solid bodies, which in this event makes it just like look nice for when you save it and when you have to go back into like the folders and preview it or whatever. But that's basically it. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I hopefully will see you guys in the next video. Take care.